dish, what comes to mind? For me, what would come to mind was a tofu stir fry with about a teaspoon of soy sauce, probably a teaspoon of oil, if that, and you know, some nuts and seeds sprinkled on top, served with brown rice. We are going to not do that. We're going to make something delicious today. We're going to achieve some nutritional goals that you need to achieve when you go vegan, but we're also going to make it, you know, really delicious, rich, tasty. We're going to make it so nice that you could serve it to non-meat eaters, and they're going to have to admit that this is really delicious too. So today we're still going to beat the meat mince. We are going to do some meatballs. Okay, so let's check it out. We're going to make them with instant polenta. So very handy to have on any diet in the kitchen. It doesn't take very long to cook at all. So we're going to do it with polenta. So we've got the water simmering away, and this is 500 grams, and it's going into 2 liters of water. Basically, you just follow the instructions on the packet, and we're just going to stir that in to the simmering water. We're just going to use all of it up. Instant polenta is great. We want to try not to muck around because it's really important to cook your own food generally, and it's really important to cook your own food if you're going vegan, because you need to have some control over what's going into your belly. So we're just going to keep stirring that up. Don't worry too much if it gets lumpy, because we're going to make meatballs, so we're going to another stage of cooking after we've done all this. Keep going. Don't worry about any rules, just get amongst it, get cooking, have fun. We try and make it nice and easy and simple. See, it's come together pretty much straight away. There may be the lump or two because we didn't use a whisk, but that's just more washing up, and I'm trying to make everything real easy for everybody. And I'll turn that down because it's going to start exploding. Get rid of that. Alright. And that's it. We're done with that, so we're going to now flavour it. Very important. Flavour, flavour, flavour. Extra virgin olive oil. That's half a cup. So it's quite a lot. Probably need 2 hands, so I hate wasting my olive oil. Extra virgin. You don't want to waste it. Stir that in. Get that in. Alright, something like that. Now we're going to put in, that's 3 teaspoons, 3 of my teaspoons of stock powder. It's a stock powder that I made. I'll show you how to make it one day, but otherwise you just use 3 teaspoons of a vegan stock powder that you can find, or those a couple of those stock cubes. We're putting in our dill, very important. That's a lot of dill, dried dill. That's about 5 teaspoons there. 5 teaspoons of dill, stirring that in. And I forgot to say last time, we're relying on dill for, well, I did mention insulin management, but also it's good for your when it's coming out the other end. It's a diarrhea preventative, dare I say. So we're going to be watching out for things to make everything just go through and digest normally, basically. And we're going to add some onion powder. I go hard on the onion powder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big ones, and I just put a bit more for good luck. Okay, so now it's starting to become quite stiff. We're going to be adding coriander seed powder. That's about 4 of my big heat teaspoons. Going to stir that in. The amount of dry stuff we're putting in is actually firming up the mix, which is what we want. And this is obviously a huge batch. The idea is so you can make some and freeze it. Now here's the magic. Savoury yeast flakes. Now they're fortified with B vitamins. That's about 1/3 of a cup going in there. It's tasty and it provides a lot of flavour, but it's also adding in some of the B vitamins, which are important for this part. That's 1 cup sunflower seeds. Now the sunflower seeds have the manganese. The savoury yeast flakes have the B vitamins. And they go together to synthesize protein in the gut. Okay? So that's a little nutritional strategy that we're applying here. And then we can feel a bit better about just, you know, having some lovely, delicious food. And the sunflower seeds provide a bit of texture as well to add a kind of, convince our palate that it's that this is a little bit meaty. That there. What else we got? Okay, for colour, turmeric. Now turmeric is anti-inflammatory, which is always good for anybody, for anything. So we're gonna try and sneak. So that's important for our vegan diet. We're just gonna try and sneak that in. It's, if we're being honest, it doesn't taste that great. So we just slip it in here and there where we can, especially when we're attempting to go vegan, when we're transitioning. Okay, we can develop a taste for things over time, but for now we just want to have delicious food that doesn't make us, you know, just doesn't send our health crazy, doesn't deteriorate our health and force us to go back to eating only meat and not even veggies, which is what a lot of people I hear do. So we want to be able to sustain the transition while ticking a few of these nutritional boxes. Now, now this is getting quite stiff, which is what we want, because we want it to look like, for those of you that cook out there, do you see how this is becoming kind of, you know, like a sausage meat, which is kind of the texture we want for meatballs. Now we're going to add some starch to help make sure to bind this all together. So that's about four of my heaped teaspoons of rice flour. The only reason I'm using rice flour is I'm just mucking around with it. I bought some recently from a bulk food shop and I'm just having a play around with things. It's good to use lots of different flours. Variety, keep mixing things up when you're trying to go vegan. And also the interesting thing here is, for those of you out there that, well, it's gluten-free so far, so it doesn't, that's not really the focus, but yeah, just mucking around with the rice flour. Okay. And we already put a lot of stock cubes in, so we're just going to add a bit of seasoning. I'm going about half a teaspoon there, which equals, if I was just rushing around, I'm just trying to show the amounts of seasoning to either scare you away or let you know that I'm going for the flavor. It's probably like a fat pinch, which is like a grab. Just grab, and then I'd throw that in just to get the seasoning up. Alright, now that is a lot of meatball mix. So what you can do is you can freeze some of that, or you just cook a big batch of meatballs and freeze some of them. Or you can scale the recipe down, but the idea is you get your polenta, you add your seasonings, you want your mixture of seeds and your B vitamin, nutritional yeast, which is adding some flavor, onion powder, put your seasonings in, your herbs, We focus on dill for the insulin resistance, and also it tastes really, really good. And get the texture like that. Kind of like, and don't forget your fat, and you want like, you know, it's like a sausagey kind of paste. And we're gonna fry this up. So we're gonna get I might put this over here for a sec so we can see. You get some oil in there, rice bran oil, for hopefully, in an ideal world, reducing the blood sugar after digestion. Okay, good amount of oil. We're deep frying. I got you guys. This is going to be delicious. You pretty much deep fry anything and it tastes delicious, but while that's heating up, we're going to have a sauce to go with it. We're going to have a sauce to go with that. So, we've got, 2 cans of tomatoes. I got the whole peeled ones. I usually like to get the already crushed, so I don't have to do this. But we just get our hand in there and crush them by hand. Obviously my hands are clean, and a bit of texture is fine, but we want to get those whole bits crushed up. Probably could have used a bigger bowl, but we're just playing along as we go. Get those all crushed up. Okay, nothing too major. Plonk that in. We're going to add some nutmeg. Nutmeg, secret ingredient. It adds a depth of flavour to a lot of stuff, and it's just going to make things surprisingly nice. Never was a huge fan, but I kept working with nutmeg until I got it right, and now I use it all the time. We're going to add black pepper. A good amount of black pepper, about, again, one of those grabs, about half a teaspoon. It's a bit more than that. A couple of good pinches. Right, probably need one of these spoons to stir it up. Okay. Stir that in. Alright, so we're gonna, that's nice and firm. So what we're gonna do is, I did lie about the part about the ball, the meatball. We're going to just take chunks off, random chunks. Otherwise you'll be here all day. That sort of thing. While the oil's still getting hot, we want to sneak in some more nutrition into our sauce. We're going to put a few fresh beans from the garden. You can put broccoli, a little bit of cabbage, something green is going to be important. So we're just going to, if I'm lazy using my bread knife, we're going to be professional and use our chef knife. I must admit, I enjoy using serrated knives just because I get lazy and it's a bad habit, but you'll be surprised how many chefs out there use a serrated knife for their cooking. It's just easy. Especially if you work in a hectic restaurant, you might not even have time, or hectic catering, you might not have time to sharpen your knife all the time. We're sneaking some nutrition into our sauce because, man, everything's going to taste so good. We can afford to put a few veggies in. So now we're going to chuck in our little pieces. That one there. That one there. See, look, we've already got, haven't had to really do much for these balls. Look, that's a bit of a big one, but that's cool, man. Just all different sizes. Look at that. Doesn't matter. The people are going to be impressed with how it tastes. If you were feeding a meat eater came around and you were like, oh, let's cook up some food, they're not going to be worried about the different size. They're going to be worried, the different size balls, they're going to be really worried if it tastes any good. We'll have a look at the sauce. Well, that's boiling. We don't need to really thicken it or anything, but we're going to add our tarragon, magical herb. Really, really good. We're going to use this a lot. It's just underused. And we're just going to be adding nice, interesting flavors to everything we do. So half teaspoon of tarragon. This is another important one here. It's fenugreek leaf. Another real. It just tastes so. It smells so interesting. It smells like it just adds a depth of flavor. It's going to add a depth of flavor to everything, which it does, and it can be quite bitter, so we don't use too much, but probably about that much is fine. A little bit more. One of my classic style teaspoons will be fine. Oh, needs a bit more. I kept it in the packet so you could see. But that's about a whole teaspoon. Alright. I'd say use a bigger spoon. I got chef hands, so this spoon's quite hot, but it doesn't really matter. So here we go. We're going to put about, again, one of these, which is about that. Half a teaspoon, half of my teaspoon. It's probably about a measured teaspoon. And that's our sauce. That's it. Those beans could probably cook another minute. I'm so worried about what I'm saying, but it's only going to get better. Right, let's have a look. We want them nicely fried, eh? We want them nicely fried. And once you've got these all fried, they're almost like dumplings, or not quite donuts because they're much more dense, but now you can do anything with this. You can do all kinds of stuff. So. Cool. And that sauce is really done. Right there. Nice drain on. It's a nice, interesting kind of yellow colour. To me, it looks quite inviting. I don't know what you guys think. Okay. Get some of these out, so we don't spoil the oil. Put that over there. Alright. And, as ever, just a pinch of salt. Put a bit of that on. Yep, something like that. They hold up pretty well. So we got our quote-unquote meatballs there, our sauce. That's really it. So, what can you do? What can you do with this? You can make a pasta. You could put your noodles on, and then you could have your sauce there, and then at the end you could just add your meatballs at the very end, stir it through with your pasta. So like spaghetti and meatballs, you could do that. You could just have another, a different starch instead of pasta. You could do like rice, couscous, all that kind of thing. You can do any of that stuff. But today is lunchtime, so I'm going to make the lovely camera lady a sandwich. So I got some bread that I made, and we're just going to throw that together. Probably get you to come around here. Throw that together. We've got some greens from the garden. Just get some greens on. Boom. We've got some gherkins here. Just plug that out of the way. Just figuring out the workflow. Just get some fat slices of gherkin. Everybody loves gherkin. Chuck them on. We're going to go get our meatballs. Excuse my fingers. Smaller ones might be good for the sandwich. Oh, well, let's just load this up, eh? Look at that. Who's going to argue with this? That looks amazing. Some of our sauce. Oh, that smells tasty, guys. Some of the sauce. Want some of those nice chunky bits. You can't mess with that. Look at that. If you got lumbered with that when you're hungry, no matter what diet you're on, you're going to want to eat this. That's it. Cut this up. There we go. And here's the reveal. I know on all those videos they do that. Bloody left-handers, eh? Look at that. That is a fat vegan sandwich. Alright. Thanks for watching. I don't care if you like, I don't care if you subscribe. I just want you to come beat the meat with me in the next one. And don't have a cow, man. Because a space cow entity will have you.